Bagseed Chronicles is a podcast about cannabis and the people who enjoy it. I hope to provide commentary about cannabis cultivation, cannabis enjoyment, cannabis as an herbal remedy, and hopefully continued cannabis liberation. Now join me, Uncle Dig, and let's overgrow the world. Hi, guys. If you knew what the lyrics were to that song that my buddy Chad is playing on the ukulele, it wouldn't be so catchy. Well, anyway, we're going to have a nice short one for you today, folks. Welcome to Bagseed Chronicles. I am Uncle Dig. Today I will be sharing a garden update and then a very special cannabis considerations where I got stoned the other day and talked about growing and meaning and defiance. Sort of, anyway. Enjoy. Ooh, it's an administrative update. Hey guys, I have no earthly idea what kind of schedule the Bagseed Chronicles is going to get released. I'm going to try to post something on this feed at least once every 10 days. But some good, exciting news. Big thanks to the guys out at cbdevious.com for mentioning this show in their article, The 20 Best Cannabis Cultivation Podcast of 2021. Thank you for the love, and I am so glad that people are noticing this and enjoying it. And if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and share it with a friend who you think would appreciate it. All right, well, anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Uncle Dig's garden update. Hey, it is 5/16/2021, and I am, of course, in Zone 8B. And here's a quick indoor update. It is getting way too hot to be indoors, so pretty soon I'm moving all these plants indoors. So I have 2 plants that are slowly hardening off to the sun, one Alien OG and one CBD Dutch Treat that I may have to cull or throw in a substandard pot and just kind of forget about and hope for the best. And then I have one plant saved for a friend who will have a jump on his next indoor grow. It is always really, really good to help out your growmies. If you can, laws considered, plant counts considered, of course. I am looking forward to being only under the sun, and my power bill, I am sure, has already decreased significantly after shutting down the old germination station. Now moving on to my outdoor photo period grow. I started putting plants in the large 30-gallon pots on the 9th of May, and I'm just about finished. I have 2 Black Domino looking well. One is already doing so well that I had to top it today because it was already up to my hips. I am just shy of 6 feet tall, and I am all arms and legs, honey, let me tell you. And moving on to another part of the garden, 2 Star Killer are looking amazing as well, but one might be showing some early signs of deficiencies, as there are some red spots that have appeared on some older leaves, but also I got like a ridiculous amount of soil on this plant when I was transplanting it. So I might have also just damaged those leaves due to like leaving the dirt on them and them getting wet, and just it's not good. And then moving on to the other pots, I have one Strawberry Dream, which is actually a Bagseed. That's just what I'm calling it. I worry it might be male because it didn't shock with any of the up pots, and it's been happy no matter what I do to it. It might just be a studly female, who knows? We will know in the next couple of months. Males usually go off early outdoors, so we're talking June or July. I've also got one feminized alien OG that is not doing well. She's shown severe signs of heat stress since I got her outside, and it's not even summer yet. This plant will perk up, and it will look happy by Thursday, or it will be cold, replaced by her sister, who has shown no significant signs of stress throughout her life. I do not tolerate difficult ladies in my garden for long. Now, my 2 outdoor CBD Dutch treats got put into 30-gallon smart pots today, and one looks a little shocked, but the other looks happy as a clam. So, really going along good in the outdoors, but that's not all that's going on in my cannabis garden. I ran out of weed this last couple of years, so I'm growing crazy, and I have an autoflower grow as well. So I have 4 autoflower seedlings in 3-gallon smart pots that are all 4 kicking ass, but they are still young seedlings. I have 2 Afghan Mass autoflowers and 2 Tangerine Dream autoflowers. I also have 2 candy cane autoflowers in paper towels, and that is the last of the seeds I am germinating this year. Now I will say this: people are like listening to this and they're thinking, "Oh, plant counts, what the hell?" Well, because of how fast I hope the autoflowers to finish, I'm never going to have more than 10 what the state of Oregon considers mature plants. So that's my plant limit. So I'm hoping that as my plants flower and I harvest them, I'll never go over 10 plants at any one time flowering. And I'm, of course, allowed to have 24 immature plants per my medical card, and my wife's 4, yada, yada, yada. So, and it takes a while to figure that out, what you're allowed to have in your area, because of the minutia the Oregon law gets into about what kind of property you have, etc., etc. All right. So I'm still under my limits. It just sounds like a lot because Oregon's a little more generous with the plant limits, especially for your medical grow. Now, veggies. My shady area cilantro experiment's not going well. It's either too shady or the soil where I've chosen to grow it is too compacted. I've still got plenty of cilantro due to the volunteers. And not all of the plants are doing poorly, just a lot of them are. My sunflower seedlings are doing well. They are just about at the point where they will start outgrowing predation, and I can thin them out and kind of pick my favorites and really go for broke. I am letting my onions bloom because they are pretty and I am lazy. So I'm going to let them flower. And I'm going to have a bunch of green onions in the summer. Something ate all my radishes, so I didn't get any radishes. My peas, my sugar snap peas, are growing super fast. I'm hoping that they'll bloom, early June. So I'm really excited. And that is it for my garden update. Let's overgrow the world. Cannabis considerations. People often talk about what cannabis can do for them or what it can do for the economy. But what does it mean? What does it symbolize, right? I think cannabis is a symbol of defiance. I've seen the topic of cannabis explored from the left, from its communitarian aspects, which are laudable and worthy of exploring. But what about its libertarian aspects? What about its fuck giving the government what they want aspects? Right now, if you smoke weed, you are being defiant of government dictate. You are a criminal. If you're listening to this podcast, there is a good chance that you break federal laws regularly. This is good. Having a moral compass separate from government dictate shows wisdom. It does. But sometimes a culture filled with defiance tolerates things that maybe it shouldn't, right? Like we all watched that guy light up a joint during the Capitol storming, right? That made some people had some feelings. Made me have some feelings, right? Maybe the opinion is that weed doesn't have any place there. But maybe the whole point is my opinion of what weed's place is really doesn't matter. Whoever is holding the joint will do as they willst, right? So now as corporations start to wrangle with the plant and try to figure out how to scale it up, that's going to change. But as long as it's federally illegal, it will always be a defiant act of civil disobedience to ingest weed, to ingest cannabis, to smoke, to eat an edible, to drink a little tincture, to put some THC, lotion on your skin. This medicine is illegal. And as long as it's illegal, cannabis patients are criminals. It's interesting that in this country we release certain individuals who murder and steal, and we detain for longer periods of time people who grow a medicinal herb. And no one is given any pause. People are starting to wake up to it, I think, a little more. As these protests last summer, and I'm sure the coming protests this summer, whenever they turn back on the rent, we're going to have opened people's eyes to how the police treat people who have been targeted for state sanctions, and that it's a problem. So I don't know what the future holds for cannabis, although I'm not as optimistic as some of these people that say, oh, the very nature of the plant means you can't scale production, man. Bullshit. It's still illegal. And a lot of really good farmers are conservative people. When they get a hold of it, when it becomes fully legal, they'll scale production, and it will be good. And the little guy will have to be able to figure out a way to compete in some other area. It is scalable. It's just more labor intensive. They'll figure out how to make it big. But where does that leave you, right? Do you continue to grow your own if you can buy weed for $5 an ounce? Is it a money thing? Is it a spiritual pursuit? Why do you want to grow the plant? Why do you want to smoke this plant? What does it symbolize for you? Personal freedom? Defiance? Our own little botanical good Samaritan? A kiss from the universal enemies of entropy and destruction? A sacrament? I think it's up to each of us to decide. But once we decide, we should stand by these internalized values that we found for ourselves. In our continued pursuit of authenticity, can the plant be our friend? Because the enemies of authenticity, right, are out there, right? Like, even now, in one of the Oregon counties where cannabis growing has become kind of an industry there, and it's illegal, the sheriff's department is still flying a helicopter around and putting out YouTube videos, blowing up these people's spots, even though presumably they're not doing anything wrong, right? Innocent until proven guilty, right? Love to meet you, but please be discreet, bruh. Thank you for listening to Bagseed Chronicles. You can contact me on Instagram at Uncle Dig or at my email, uncledig4@gmail.com. The producer of the music found on this podcast is Chad DeVilliers. He can be found on YouTube at Ukuleles Are Stupid and on Instagram at Chadwick Enterprises.